Can you stretch your imagination to be stuck in traffic for 12 days straight? Sounds impossible, doesn't it? But let me introduce you to a reality that unfolded in the year 2010. A time when the world witnessed a traffic jam that lasted an unbelievable 12 days. This wasn't your ordinary bumper-to-bumper situation. No, this was on a scale beyond what any of us could ever fathom. The stage was set in China, on the bustling China National Highway 110. A sudden surge in heavy truck traffic combined with ongoing road maintenance work created the perfect storm for chaos. The highway, already burdened by its heavy daily traffic, was ill-prepared for this unexpected onslaught. The vehicles just kept coming, and the road just couldn't take it. And so the stage was set for what would become the world's longest traffic jam. As hours turned into days, the traffic situation went from bad to worse. Imagine this, a sea of vehicles stretching as far as the eye can see. Thousands upon thousands of cars, trucks, and motorcycles, all trapped in an endless snarl-up. The highway morphed into a giant parking lot, a monument to the sheer scale of urban gridlock. As the sun rose and set, the frustration grew. You could see it in the driver's eyes, hear it in their voices. The initial annoyance gave way to a deeper sense of despair. They were stuck, not for a few hours, but for days on end. Time, it seemed, stood still amidst the blare of car horns and the hum of idling engines. But it wasn't just the loss of time that was the problem. As the days dragged on, basic necessities became a luxury. Food, water, sanitation, these were the real challenges. Imagine being stuck in your car without enough to eat or drink. Imagine the desperation, the helplessness. And then in the midst of this chaos, a strange kind of economy began to emerge. Opportunists saw a chance to turn a quick profit. Food, bottled water, even portable toilets were sold at exorbitant prices. It was supply and demand in its rawest form, a market born out of necessity. People were paying 10 times the normal price for a bottle of water, 5 times for a packet of noodles. It was a bitter pill to swallow, but what choice did they have? It was either pay up or go without. And so, the highway became more than just a traffic jam. It was a microcosm of human survival and enterprise. People were pushed to their limits, but they also found ways to adapt, to make the best out of a bad situation. The highway had turned into an unending parking lot, a microcosm of human survival and enterprise. While the drivers were grappling with the situation, the government was scrambling for solutions. As the hours turned into days, the government found themselves facing an escalating crisis. This wasn't just a traffic jam, it was a test of their crisis management skills, a test they couldn't afford to fail. First on their agenda was to send police to regulate the traffic. Officers were dispatched to the scene, their blue and red lights piercing the haze of exhaust fumes. Their task was Herculean, to say the least. They had to untangle miles of gridlocked traffic, a task that felt akin to untying the Gordian knot. But they pressed on, their determination unwavering. While the police worked tirelessly on the ground, the government focused on providing emergency supplies to the stranded drivers. Water, food, and essential medical supplies were distributed, a lifeline to those stuck in their vehicles. Helicopters took to the sky, their rotors humming as they airlifted supplies to those in need. But even as they worked, the scale of the problem was daunting. There were thousands of cars, each one a small island of desperation in a sea of metal and asphalt. And then there was the question of infrastructure. To alleviate the situation, the government began constructing additional roads. This was no small feat. It required manpower, resources, and most importantly, time. Time that was in short supply. But the government was determined to make a difference, to turn the tide in this battle against the seemingly insurmountable traffic jam. Despite these efforts, the challenges in managing such a large-scale issue were immense. There were logistical issues, resource constraints, and the sheer scale of the problem. Every solution seemed to be a drop in the ocean, a small victory in a war that was far from over. Despite the efforts, the traffic jam persisted, a testament to the overwhelming scale of the problem. The government had thrown everything they had at the crisis, but the traffic jam, like a stubborn mule, refused to budge. It was a grim reminder that sometimes even the best-laid plans can fall short when faced with the unpredictable nature of life. After 12 grueling days, the snarl finally started to clear. Imagine the collective sigh of relief that must have rippled through the sea of stranded vehicles. The road ahead was gradually opening up, the end was in sight. Now how did the traffic jam eventually end? One might think it was due to some grand immediate solution, but in reality, it was a slow and gradual process. The authorities worked tirelessly, implementing a number of measures as they tried to untangle this massive knot of vehicles. Relief efforts were monumental, with food and water being distributed to stranded drivers. Temporary shelters were set up for those who had been trapped in their vehicles for days on end. Fuel was brought in for vehicles running low, and medical aid was provided for those in need. As the days wore on, the traffic began to thin out. Roads that once seemed like endless parking lots began to resemble highways once again. It was a slow and painstaking process, but with each passing day, the situation improved. But what about preventing such a catastrophe in the future? This incident served as a wake-up call, highlighting the urgent need for better traffic management and infrastructure. Measures were put in place to improve road conditions and traffic flow. More importantly, there was a renewed focus on educating drivers about road safety and proper driving etiquette to prevent such situations from happening again. The traffic jam also underscored the importance of emergency preparedness. It led to the creation of contingency plans for similar scenarios, ensuring that relief efforts could be swiftly implemented in the future. This incident was a clear reminder that while we may have advanced in many areas, there is always room for improvement, especially when it comes to our roadways. We learned that it's not just about getting from point A to point B, but also about ensuring the journey is safe and efficient for all. Thus ended the world's longest traffic jam, leaving behind a trail of lessons and memories, a testament to human resilience, adaptability, and the ever-pressing need for progress. The world watched in awe as the longest traffic jam in history finally came to an end. A sigh of relief echoed across the globe as the last car made its way out of the gridlock. But the end was merely the beginning of a significant transformation. The aftermath of the event was like a wake-up call, sparking an immediate reaction in the spheres of traffic management, road construction, and emergency response strategies. It became evident that the old ways were not enough, that we needed to rethink our approach to infrastructure and its management. In the realm of traffic management, the incident prompted a shift towards advanced technologies. Traffic control systems were revamped, with a focus on real-time monitoring and predictive analysis. The aim was to identify potential congestion points and manage traffic flow more efficiently, reducing the likelihood of such an occurrence in the future. The incident also highlighted the need for better road construction. Planners began to consider additional lanes, bypass roads, and alternative routes in their designs. The importance of regular maintenance became more apparent, as neglected roads were identified as a contributing factor to the jam. Emergency response strategies underwent a significant overhaul as well. The traffic jam had exposed the lack of preparedness in dealing with such situations. Consequently, agencies started to develop comprehensive response plans, including the provision of food, water, and medical aid during prolonged traffic disruptions. But perhaps the most important lesson learned was the importance of preparedness and infrastructure in preventing such incidents. The incident served as a stark reminder that we could not afford to take our infrastructure for granted. It emphasized the need for constant vigilance, for continuous improvement, and for the resilience to adapt to the changing demands of our time. The 12-day traffic jam, a testament to human resilience and adaptability, serves as a stark reminder of the challenges posed by rapid urbanization and growth. It's a lesson engraved in our collective memory, a lesson that we must remember as we continue to build and grow in the face of an ever-changing world. So, how massive was this traffic jam, really? Picture a line of cars stretching from New York City to Miami, bumper to bumper. This wasn't a typical Monday morning commute or a minor inconvenience due to construction work. This was a traffic jam that stretched over 60 miles, a virtual snake of stationary vehicles that turned a 100-kilometer stretch of highway into a parking lot. Imagine the Great Wall of China, only instead of stones and bricks, it's made of cars, trucks, and motorcycles. Now imagine that wall not just standing still but extending and growing for 12 whole days. That's the magnitude we're talking about. The world's longest traffic jam was not just an event, it was a phenomenon, a glaring display of our reliance on transportation systems and the chaos that ensues when they fail. A 12-day traffic jam, a phenomenon that brought a nation to a standstill, a stark reminder of the power of unexpected events in our lives.